Hi everyone, my name is Arianna and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my labor and delivery story. I remember when I was around 38 weeks, we decided to go ahead and be induced because I was having a lot of early labor for like 2 months. And so we decided in my 39th week we would be induced. So I remember searching so many YouTube videos looking for somebody to explain their story and like how it went, what to expect. And so I wanted to create a video to share my story in hopes that maybe somebody who is going through the same thing as me would have something to look at. So my induction date was set for August 3rd, and we went in at 5 o'clock in the morning and got checked in, registered, all that good stuff. And so I think it was around 6 a.m. they started me on Pitocin. And now prior to this, I'd been having a lot of, contractions in my back, and everybody talks about how back labor is probably the worst pain that you could, go through, other than like stomach contractions. And so I was preparing myself to have back labor throughout the whole thing. And, back labor mixed with Pitocin, which if you don't know what it is, it, stimulates contractions artificially pretty much to induce labor. So they started me around 6 a.m. and my doctor came in and said in a few hours he would break my water. So they started me on like I think the lowest dose of Pitocin that you could, and I was having contractions, and I thought those hurt, but that was just pretty much the baby contractions. So every 30 minutes, an hour, I think they came in and upped it a little bit, and they were painful, but I could still, walk around and, sit through them without any tears. So when he came in and broke my water, I think it was around, I want to say like 8:30. That's when things like really hit the fan. So immediately they started to get more painful, and like I couldn't talk, couldn't move, literally like, after you break your water, you're not allowed to get out of bed, at least, in the hospital that I was in. So I was literally bedridden, and I had to really lay on, I think it was my right side. I could only lay on my right side. So, I basically just had to sit there and take the pain, which sucked. I wish I could, been on like a yoga ball or, up walking around. Although now looking back, I don't know if I really would have wanted to walk around because they hurt that bad. So I had to have a fluid bag, and originally I wanted to go unmedicated, natural. And so I was, they came in and they asked if I wanted any pain meds, and I was like, no, I want to see how long I can, sit it out, wait. So, and I did, and I think around like 9 a.m. things got really, really bad. The nurse came in and I was like, I need the epidural like now, as in like 30 minutes ago. So she was like, well, you still have about like a third of fluid left, and we can't give you the epidural till you finish the whole bag of fluid. So of course I was really upset about that, and my husband was like holding my hand, trying to push on my back, and nothing worked. It was the most excruciating pain. I remember like Googling about back labor, and people would describe it as like a jackhammer or a knife in your back, and I think it was like way worse than that. So around 9 a.m. she said she'd come back in about 15 minutes, and the fluid bag should be done with, and then I could have the epidural. So she came back, and when she came back, I remember screaming like, I feel pressure, I need to push. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I'll check you. And surprisingly, I was already ready to go. That was around like 9:30. So she was like, everybody was surprised. They were expecting me to be ready to deliver probably about like 6 p.m. By the end of the day he should be ready to come. But I think that was a total of like, what would have been, I think it was like a 3-hour labor. So, they had to go search and scramble to go find my doctor, get everything ready, while I'm basically sitting there screaming, get him out, get him. He came in there, got ready, and I was screaming like, I need to push, and they're telling you like, don't push. And how can you not push whenever you feel like the urge to push? So I tried waiting as hard, but you know, I think I was already at that point, like starting to push a little bit, because that's literally the only thing that makes you feel better, is pushing whenever you feel that like insane amount of pressure. So, you know, my doctor finally getting there, got ready, and then they were telling me to push with each contraction. And I think maybe 15 minutes after that, he came out, and I cannot describe how painful that is, but what an experience it is. I mean, it was like the most incredible and insane amount of pain. Sorry, I have my baby on the monitor right now. Alright, well, I guess we're gonna have a little visitor because he doesn't want to finish taking his nap. So anyways, yes, they laid him on my chest, and you know, everything, you know, finished up. I didn't have any tearing, thank goodness. I was really scared about that, you know, reading about episiotomies and first, second, third, I think there's even a 4th degree tear. I mean, I think anybody naturally is terrified about that. But honestly, when you're going through it, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was, you know, more so just like get him out any way possible. So I was not expecting to have a 3-hour labor, because you know, when you hear about, you know, people being induced, some can go into the next day, you know. So I was very fortunate to not have that. Did I think it was going to be as quick as it was? Absolutely not. But I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm happy he got here healthy and safe. And you know, I think the next child we have, I'm not sure I would want to go through an induction again, especially if I am having back labor. I'm hoping the next child is, you know, rotated a little differently so the pressure isn't in my back. I think the way he was sitting, which was like, he was head down, but he was like kind of like towards my side, and I think he was face up, or they call it like sunny side up, so like his back was against my back, not his back against my stomach. And so that's what was causing the back labor, and I'm assuming he either, you know, came out that way or he eventually like turned, but either way it was all on my back the whole time. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope that this helped somebody out, you know, if they're being induced and they have no idea what to expect, because there really weren't a lot of stories I saw on YouTube, and I wanted to, you know, like I said, put my story out. So thank you. Please subscribe, stay tuned for more videos. I'm hoping to do one about postpartum, one about him. He's 7 weeks old, and I'll show him in a minute. And if anybody has any other ideas, oh, also a day in the life. I think I really want to do a day in the life. Those seem very interesting. Although, you know, he's a pretty cranky baby, so I want to do an honest day in the life. You know, I think everybody has this perception about, you know, newborns, or they only show the good stuff, you know, whereas in my case, he has his good days and his bad days, especially now that he's starting to smile and, you know, talk. But, you know, sometimes he gets really overtired, doesn't want to nap. You know, he is a very colicky and gassy baby, so I want to show an honest day in the life. So stay tuned.